Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books are sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
Hey there, and welcome in to another edition of This Day in Sports History. It's April 11th, and since the Masters gets underway today, let's take a look at two of the most dominating Masters performances. First, let's go back to 1965 when a 25-year-old Jack Nicklaus toyed with the Augusta National course for the first 2 days like a cat plays with a mouse, and then he pounced on the weekend to stride to a win for the ages. Nicklaus overpowered the golf course, hitting wedges and short irons into par 4 greens and reaching a lot of the par 5s in 2. 63-year-old golfing legend Bobby Jones watched in amazement at how Nicklaus played his course, remarking at one point, "He plays a game with which I am not familiar." Coming into this tournament, the Arnold Palmer versus Nicklaus rivalry was in full swing. Palmer entered as the defending champ and the owner of 4 Masters green jackets. Nicklaus won 2 years prior. Add into the mix Gary Player, and this was a showcase for the Big Three of golf for the first 2 days. After Friday's round, Jack, Arnie, and Gary were tied for the lead, and at that point, with 15 golfers within 6 shots of the lead, it was anybody's tournament. But Nicklaus seized control with a scorching course record 8 under 64 in the third round. He birdied 5 of the first 8 holes, added 3 more on the back, and did not have a bogey as he separated himself from the pack. He led Player by 5 shots and Arnie by 6. And the way the Golden Bear was stalking the course, the only thing to decide on Sunday was how large his margin of victory was going to be. Nicklaus had a more pedestrian final round, firing a 3 under 69 to finish the tournament 17 under par, and a 4-round total of 271. His 271 shots bested Ben Hogan's previous record at Augusta by 3 shots, and his 9-shot margin of victory over both Palmer and Player was also a new record. It was the second of 6 Masters wins for Nicklaus. On this day in 1976, Raymond Floyd closed out his impressive Masters victory with the same 4-day total of 271 and an 8-shot margin of victory over Ben Crenshaw. Floyd's journey to 271 was a little bit different than Jack's 11 years before. Raymond came out of the gates firing at the pins. He carded a 7 under 65 on Thursday and followed that up with a 6 under 66 on Friday to take a 5-shot lead over, interestingly enough, Nicklaus. He put it in cruise control for the final 2 days, shooting 70 on Saturday and Sunday to lead wire to wire. And while Nicklaus used a scorching hot putter to set his mark in 65, Floyd overpowered the par 5s for 4 rounds, finishing 14 under with 12 birdies, an eagle, and 2 pars on the par 5s for the week. And that was more than good enough for Floyd to win his first and only green jacket. Also on this day, there were several firsts to celebrate. In 1966, after a 15-year stint in the minor leagues, Emmett Ashford became the first black umpire in Major League Baseball when he was the third base ump on opening day in Cleveland. Ashford didn't have an opportunity to make a call on this day, but it wasn't long until he made his mark. Ashford was known for his theatrical calls, but soon was noticed for how well he tracked fly balls and flares into the outfield. Frank Robinson said that Ashford got a better break on the ball than most of the Major League outfielders. He earned the respect of players, managers, and even fans who enjoyed his exuberance making calls on the field. And since his debut in the majors was delayed, he only spent 5 years at the major league level, retiring at the age of 56. In 1989, Philadelphia Flyers goalie Ron Hextall scored an empty netter in the Flyers Game 5 playoff series win against the Washington Capitals. Hextall's goal was the first ever scored by a goalie in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And in 2003, the Miami Heat retired the number 23 jersey of Michael Jordan. I'm going to let you run that through your brain for a second or two as you wonder, when did MJ play for the Heat? And the answer is, he didn't. It was Jordan's farewell tour in the NBA, playing with the Washington Wizards. And it was a gesture orchestrated by Heat coach Pat Riley, who said after the jersey was revealed, "In honor of your greatness and for all you've done for the game of basketball, and not just the NBA, but for all the fans around the world, we want to honor you tonight and hang your jersey, number 23, from the Raptors. No one will ever wear number 23 for the Miami Heat. You're the best." Nice gesture, but a bit unusual. Well, a lot unusual, considering that guy beat your team a number of times in his 15-year NBA career. And making it even a little more unusual, Jordan's 23 was the first number ever to be retired by the Heat. They would not retire a Miami Heat player's number until Alonzo Mourning's in 2009. In between Zoe's and MJ's number retirement, the Heat also retired Miami Dolphin Dan Marino's number 13. And time now for today's non-sports Did You Know? The sister city of Dull, Scotland is, appropriately enough, Boring, Oregon. That's all for today. I'll have more tomorrow on This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.